So yeah, we did the filming for the API event, the audio programmers in London at the Point Blank Music School. As the videographer, what was your first impressions like arriving at the event? Did you notice anything? Did anything inspire you from the start?
Yeah, well, I think just with any event, the first thing when entering the space is just to get a good feel for the space, get a feel of where things are going to be happening, what looks interesting visually, as well as obviously meeting with the client and making sure that you kind of briefed and you're on the same page. So yeah, just kind of running through the different scenarios and thinking about angles, thinking about where we want to set up. On that case, we were roaming, so we weren't kind of fixed in one position, but even just thinking which are the areas that we can be roaming in without getting in the way. Obviously, we don't want to distract from what's happening, but we also want to make sure we're getting the right shots. So yeah, just kind of balancing all those different avenues.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Love that, Lucas. That was actually a good response. Can you take me through some of your approach on capturing key moments?
So with that particular shoot, I was focused more on audience expression and kind of moments of emotion between the guests that were watching the presentation. I'd look out for example, people that looked particularly engaged and animated, especially people that seemed to be meeting other people that they didn't know. So I've got one eye on the visuals, but I've also got one eye on the people and the subjects, seeing where interesting things are happening. So for example, if there was someone who perhaps came on their own, and then I noticed that they'd started speaking to someone, that seemed like an important moment to capture, because that reflected what the client was trying to do with the event. So yeah, and looking for things like jokes, laughter, handshakes, especially some parts, for example, where people were exchanging business cards. That was a good detail to capture. So yeah, I think I was just focusing on the human moments, and yeah, also just trying to show the fun of the event. So when they brought food, pizza for everyone, just really capturing the things that made it an enjoyable and memorable event.
It's like having a third eye, isn't it? You're filming one thing, and then you almost sense that something's happening somewhere else. So you have to kind of manage and prioritize. So since we both filmed the event, what angles were you most proud of, thought would contribute to the final edit? Like what did you film that you thought, oh, that's going to be a really good asset for the final film?
Some things that, well, yeah, when you're shooting an event, there's always, you kind of got an eye on the screen, and you always know when you're capturing something good. At the moment where you're like, oh, this is good, this is, this will likely make it into the edit. And there were a few moments like that, especially with close-ups of some people. There were moments where people would be chatting and networking with people they didn't know before, and I'd see someone, I just see a real moment of humanity and connection between two people, where they'd really laugh, and the kind of moment that shows that, okay, these two people are really getting along. And I was trying to get close-ups of those moments. So yeah, there were a few of those times where I was like, that's good, that I reckon that'll make it in. And then also just some kind of compositional shots that were looking really nice. Some shots that showed, for example, when people were getting pizza at the bar, there's a shot that just showed a lot of things happening at once. People exchanging pizza, people also chatting in the background. So just every now and then things line up. You're like, this shot captures a lot of the different details that the event was made for.
So you can almost see like a sequence or little mini stories happening, even within different scenes, like different parts of the event.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Did you ever? Did any shots stand out to you? Like, did you actually do you remember any shots where you just looked at it and thought, oh, that's actually really good? Like, that stands out.
There were a few. There were a few moments. There was one moment where there was two chaps at the back. The presentation was showing a demonstration of a kind of gaming situation with the musical cues, and there were two chaps that were looking at a screen showing what was happening, and they seemed very engaged, and they seemed very, very impressed, and they were like laughing, and there was quite a look of wonder on their face. And I remember kind of us, giving each other an eye and being like, let's show these guys, because they're really immersed in it. So that was just a really nice moment. And there was another moment. There was a chap who was taking a lot of pictures on his phone of the slides as they were coming up. So he kept bringing his phone out. So I thought, that showed that this is someone who wants to revisit what he's seeing now. So that felt like a good moment to capture.
That's those classic concert moments, isn't it, when people hold their phone up? And
yeah. As I said, moments of connection between people as they were eating, as they were, so like the breaks, whenever they would have a break in the presentation, that's when particularly myself, kind of focusing more on the audience members, that's when I'd kind of be like, right, now's the moments that I'm going to get that are going to bring the edit to life. So yeah, people just connecting and networking, those moments, I think were the heart and soul of the event.
Just remembering, actually, not on my questions list, but can you just sort of go through the logistics of, there was 2 of us there, wasn't there? So how did that work out? And, you know, even just our different cameras and the technology that we had, and also just coordinating each other as a team. How did that play out?
It played out very organically. So yeah, we arrived, spoke to the client, made sure that we were on the same page about what they wanted from us. Yeah, and then we started off, both of us, you know, roaming, catching different details. I was focusing more on close-ups of the audience members, particularly because the auditorium where they were sat was quite dark. So I was able to calibrate and expose my settings such that I could get some of the details of their expressions, while you were focusing more on the wider shots and the kind of the bigger picture of what was happening. So that was kind of the interplay there.
Yeah.
And then yeah, in the breaks where the lights would come up and people would chat, we were both freestyle way. We were going around and just seeing what we spotted individually. And then towards the end, we wanted to get some interviews from people. So we would, yeah, essentially each of us would branch out in different areas of the space and try and find people that wanted to talk about the event. So we'd be conducting these interviews, you know, simultaneously to cover more ground and to get more of them. You know, if we had been, you know, just one unit, perhaps we wouldn't have covered as much. So I think we had a good understanding that we knew what we were doing, and we were trying to get essentially double the coverage from 2 different places.
Yeah, I actually had a really good time at this event, like filming it, and I thought we were really coordinated. I really liked the way you were going in for the close-ups, all the audience reactions and reactions to some of the panel, and their actual showing their intrigue and watching the screens that they had next to them. And yeah, just me doing more of the wide shots. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, gear. Like, we usually cover quite lightweight, don't we? So how did we manage this one? I don't think we really needed any lights. We kind of just used what was there, didn't we?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So yeah, with events like this, because there's not a huge amount of space, I think it can work best to be quite lightweight, to have just the camera body and all it needs, and then a tripod as well. Sometimes even it can be more helpful even just to take it off the tripod and go handheld, as I think you were doing for some shots as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for this kind of event, it doesn't really make sense to come in with heaps of kit in the room. I remember
we don't want to take over either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Towards the end, I remember for some of the interviews, you've got some lighting out, but again, it's just a small, simple thing just to add a bit of supporting light. It's not a big whole, you know, lighting setup. Yeah, I think especially for these kind of events where what you're capturing isn't scripted and it is just these organic moments that could happen over there, it could happen right here. You need to be very flexible and adaptable, and I think having a dynamic and pretty small setup is pretty essential for that.
You've got the team filming the actual panel and the presentations and the talks, and then you've got us who are filming the highlights video, so all of the interactions, atmosphere, and everything that goes on at the event that's not on stage.
Yeah, so I think with an event like this, there's a lot of different things to capture. One is obviously the presentation itself and what is being shown, you know, the teaching that is going on, what's being shown to the audience, and something that then can be put online and shared with other people as well, which in many ways is much bigger than the event itself. That's one aspect, and that's very important. But then the other aspect is the event itself. It's the people coming together, socializing, connecting, networking, and I think that in many ways is what can draw a lot of people to events like that, because, you know, the technical side of it, as nice as it is to see it live, many people can see it at home and things like that, and that's essential to have for people that can't make it. But I think, yeah, the event itself and people coming together, networking, exchanging cards, having fun, I think that's really, really the heart and soul of events like these. And so, yeah, I think it's very important to get the technical presentation with really good coverage and kind of simple that can be put anywhere, but then also to have footage of the details of people interacting, and yeah, to really show that this event is a very social thing that brings people of
community, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, there's a lot of community to it, and it's very technical, but there's also that social element, and I think that's something that people really crave, even when they're doing a very technical craft.
I think the secret formula for some of these tech companies is to build a community around their product and their service.
Yeah. So with this event, we split it up essentially into two teams. So the one team was focusing on the live stream, the presentation, capturing that from different angles to make sure that that's then something that can be shared online and used as a resource for people. And then the other team that was focusing on capturing the people themselves, the experience of going to the event, the people watching the event, but also chatting with each other, networking, making connections. Yeah, and this was the kind of the social aspect that defines many of these events. So yeah, we saw it as those two separate things to capture, both serving their own integral purpose.
Any unexpected challenges that came up in this shoot, or something that you were unprepared for?
So there were a couple of challenges on that shoot. The first was the lighting conditions when the presentations were happening on the audience, because the auditorium was very dark itself. So we solved that by yourself focusing on the bigger picture, having your lighting adjusted for that darkness, and then myself, I was focusing on the audience members in close up. So I just used the dual native ISO on my camera to re-expose for that, basically, so that I wasn't looking at the whole room. I was just focusing on the close-ups themselves, and then I could readjust the lighting for that on the camera. Also, then at the end, we wanted to get a bit of a feel for what it was like to attend the event. So we wanted to speak to some people. Sometimes people can be quite shy. People don't want to just randomly speak to camera.
You're quite good on camera as well, aren't you? So you can coach them on the spot almost.
Yeah. So some people can be a bit shy about talking to camera. So yeah, it's just important to be very kind of informal and casual about it and not make it feel like it's a big Netflix documentary that they're about to be on. And yeah, just kind of being very conversational, and also finding the people that you think are have something they want to say as well. So just gauging that element as well.
Yeah, it's like going in like a seagull. Like you spot someone and you think, oh, okay, I think they're ready for the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not afraid to go and talk to people at events and get the stories that we need to get.
No, yeah, and I think that there are plenty of people who want to talk. People are enjoying themselves and they want to share what it's been like, and yeah. So I think there's always people that are very eager to contribute.
You can actually see some people, they are very quite nervous, but when you get them on camera, you realize that they actually had a lot to say, but they're it's just breaking the ice and getting them to start speaking.
Definitely, yeah, sure.
Giving them encouragement. How do you think this helps audio programmer tell a better story for their company running and capturing an event like this?
Yeah, I think this helps them because so much of what they do and so much of what audio programmers do is remote, and they're all working independently in their own offices. And a lot of what they're speaking about is some of the challenges of technology coming forward, AI, massive changes that people are a bit nervous about. Obviously, there's excitement there, but people are quite nervous. So I think for people to be able to come together and talk about it in person really helps them, feel like they're not alone in those challenges, but also to have some lightness and make some connections and have some fun as well, because work can obviously be very technical and very craft focused, but it's nice to also be able to relax and have that in-person time, especially with freelancers who don't necessarily have that many colleagues. So yeah, meet other like-minded freelancers and all sorts that can really just strengthen and make the brand more than just a technical resource, but make it a community as well.
Lucas, you're brilliant, man. Because I read this question and it said, in what ways do you think filming this event as a team helped us tell a more complete story? But I thought it's the brand that is sitting at the center of a community here, and I think even the audio programmers has inspired me as well to think not just about service that we provide, but trying to work out how we fit into a bigger community. And obviously there's people that we are helping and enabling, and I think trying to really spend some time and actually work out who that group of people is, and they've obviously done a fantastic job of bringing everyone into the same room. Yeah. How do you balance creativity and efficiency? Because I think that definitely comes up when we could be spending too long on a shot, or you know what it's like. And yeah, so how do we balance getting the job done with making sure that we're creative at the same time?
I think as videographers who enjoy cinematography, we can often focus a bit too heavily, as videographers and cinematographers, sometimes the temptation is to focus too heavily on the shot itself in terms of an aesthetic lens, in terms of it being you know, perfectly composed and the lighting and the color scheme and everything being perfect. The reality is, the client, that's not necessarily the top priority always for the client. They want to show, they want to showcase their brand. They want to show what they're doing for their customers, for their clients. So I think it's just a balancing act of remembering, I'm here to provide a service for the client. I'm here to showcase what they want me to showcase. To the degree that I can do it, yeah, I'll make it aesthetically a good shot, and I'll make the cinematography very strong, and you know, in the best cases even cinematic, whatever. But that should always be a supporting aspect to what the client wants. You know, the client doesn't want a lovely shot that doesn't sell their brand. They want to sell their brand, and if it's a lovely shot, fantastic. So I think balancing those two things, and not being perfectionist about the artistic side of things, but also letting that reinforce the commercial side of things, I think is the right dynamic there.
I think even comes into things like how long you interview someone for. If you've got, you know, you're maybe going to interview 10 people and you've only got a certain amount of time, like everyone's going to start going home. You start to prioritize and think, okay, everyone's got like a 2-minute slot or something like that. And yeah, nice. It's brilliant. Let's just have a quick look through some of it and see how that looks and feels as well. Yeah, I love the sharpness of your shots. I think like, and the framing. I was actually genuinely interested to know, do you actually have like a framing rule? Because I know there's the thirds framing guides and things, but you have an interesting way of doing it, and I do think
I kind of I don't tend to think about it consciously. I think it's more just like automatic. Yeah, generally the thirds rule is one that I try and stick to, but again, yeah, I'm not thinking about it consciously. And sometimes if it needs to be broken, it needs to be, you know, broken a bit. But yeah, that one was a good example actually.
Yeah, that was a really nice one. And one that really stands out in the actual final edit is, it was a shot of one of the panelists. I think it's this one here. It's really actually a really beautiful shot. I know they're just interviews, but it actually looks really good. Got a right level of background blur and sharpness in front. So what are you doing? You're just lining the eyes up with the grids, but sort of subconsciously.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about it consciously. Just I guess just making sure I gave him a little bit of headroom above the top of his hair. Yeah, and just trying to keep him center frame pretty much.
And I like almost like a slight bit of movement in the camera as well. It really, you need that energy, especially if you're at an event where there's things going on. You don't want everything like still or locked off.
Yeah, it kind of does put you in the event a bit more.
Any other shots of note here? This was the founder.
Yeah,
this was a brilliant alternative to the tripod.
I'm not sure if when I was filming that, I wasn't sure if it would work cutting between the two quite close, but
yeah, and I've noticed you do a slight little zoom sometimes as well, which also adds a bit more energy. Like, do you think about that consciously, or is that just reframing? Because sometimes it's used, we use it in the final edits. So.
Yeah, it might just be reframing, but yeah.
So what are you thinking consciously when you're filming this now? You're thinking like sharpness, you're thinking like focus. What's going through your mind when you're just doing a simple shot like this?
Yeah, so I'm manually focusing. So I've always got one hand on the focus ring. I'm not really changing it, but I'm just keeping an eye to make sure. I've got focus peaking on as well, obviously. So yeah, if certain positions, if you might like move forward a bit, I'll try and catch it with a little adjustment. But yeah, just kind of as a maintenance tool. And then yeah, just trying to keep the framing consistent. But no, I'm not really thinking too much through what I need to be doing here. I'm more just also because I'm asking the questions in this example, I'm also paying attention to what he's saying and seeing if there's anything else we can chat about.
Yeah, we're a lean team, aren't we? We're doing a lot at once each. Like we make it work. Yeah, this guy was confident. Was he one of the panelists? I actually can't remember.
He was one of the presenters.
Oh, he was at the music school. I think he was running a course.
Yeah, he did one of the first presentation.
Talk me through some of these general atmosphere shots. What are you thinking when you might have covered this earlier, but what are you thinking when you collect these kind of shots?
Yeah, so this is a moment, for example, they're talking and he looks like he's talking about it could be something completely else, but it looks like they're talking about, you know, something quite relevant to the presentation, and they're you know, I'd imagine here that they don't necessarily know each other that well from before, so there's a good moment of networking there that they're having. You know, all around we're seeing people here that seem to be networking. They've got their phones out, they're showing each other things. Yeah, and it's a really good example of why these events are really good. They bring like-minded individuals together, people that they wouldn't necessarily meet otherwise. Yeah, and obviously in a venue where they can get drinks, they can you know, relax a bit, they can have food. So it's not a super formal, you know, take my card now, and it's more just very chilled and a nicer way to meet colleagues, really.
You got some really nice audience shots as well when the presentation was happening and the talks, when the talks were happening. Yeah, these ones. Look at this. That.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's nice. But yeah, events like these, you know, you sit next to people you don't know, and it does encourage you to chat and make friends. And here we see, you know, two people, yeah, just connecting over whatever they have in common in the industry, and it's just nice to see. And yeah, as much as you can meet people online and network through forums and things, which is great, but I think this is the crux of why events like these are so important, really.
Yeah. And just talk us through a little bit about the panel. I think the panel were actually really interesting because they were, as you said earlier, they were touching on a lot of topics that are quite important at the moment, like AI and a lot of digital transformation. Yeah, what was your thoughts capturing some of this? And I think the stage looked really well put together as well.
Yeah. No, I thought the panel was really good, and they all made their points very well, very you know, articulated it very well, and also they were coming at it from slightly different angles, not in ways that necessarily clashed, but highlighting different areas of the conversation.
It's nice when it's not all just one agenda, isn't it, or one bias. There's actually a lot of different people representing a lot of different.
Exactly, yeah. And the host, our client, I think he did a really good job with his questions, showing the different sides. So one of his questions was, you know, paraphrasing, but what's the thing you're most excited for in this, but also your biggest worry? And they all gave compatible but quite different answers, and that really helped show the different sides to the topic as a whole. And yeah, they all work in different areas. So if I remember correctly, this lady works with guitar amps, and a lot of it is offline. So she's, you know, managing a lot of the dynamic between the analog and the digital, whereas, you know, some of the other people were working purely on the digital. So it's just nice to have the different faces of the industry coming together and chatting. And yeah, I thought they all made really good points.
Yeah, I love that, Lucas. Thank you very much. Sometimes I'm talking to you like outside of the recording. Do you know what I mean? But, yeah. What are our capabilities with this kind of stuff?
Yeah, so with an event like this, I think it's very important to capture all the different things going on. So we, LiveUP Media, we split it up into two teams, essentially, two teams of cameramen. The one team is focused on capturing what's happening on the stage. So whether it be the presentations or whether it be a panel, they're focused on getting that coverage in a way that can act as a very useful resource for the client and to be shared with people online as well. And that's, you know, classic, getting a wide shot that shows the whole stage setup, the interaction between all people, and then also going in for the close-ups to show the expressions and the emotions of whoever's speaking at the time, or whatever aspect of the presentation is being highlighted. So that's the one team, and they'll have, you know, the cameras locked off on tripods, secured the best position for that perspective. And then the other team was the roaming team, and we're focusing more on the social element of the event itself. So not so much on the presentation, but more on the people in the audience, the interactions between them, the networking happening between them, and all these moments that are kind of in-person reasons why people would want to come to the event. So as a whole, then we're kind of covering all the bases of the event, the presentation, what's happening on stage, but then also the beyond the fourth wall, what's happening behind it. And just showing the whole comprehensive lens of the event itself.
Right, last question, and I'll let you go because I also wanted to pop to the gym today to try and get myself a bit fitter. Just tell me why do you? Because I'm a videographer as well. Why did you even get interested in it? What's in it for you? Like what makes you tick?
So I've always been very interested in storytelling, and in film, and in just yeah, telling stories that inspire us, that motivate us. And while my long-term goal is to move into fictional cinematography, so film and television, at the moment I'm really enjoying applying storytelling to the commercial world. So helping clients tell their stories, capturing things like events, advertisements, all sorts. And yeah, really thinking about what is the story here that the client is trying to tell, and how can I best bring that to life in a way that inspires their customers, in a way that inspires them, and in a way that just creates a really strong brand identity. So I think, yeah, storytelling is the word that keeps me anchored in videography.
Brilliant. I think that's great. Did you have any random, I don't want to answer many, but did you have any random questions about my approach?
Yeah, as you know, as the head in charge in LiveUP Media, what is your approach to the starting point when you approach an event like this? What is your approach in figuring out, right, what do I need? How many my colleagues do I need to bring with me? How do you go about the designing the approach to capturing an event?
I think it's about using the best talent. I think I've made connections with an expanded team of videographers, not just myself, but obviously with Lucas, yourself, and making sure that we provide the absolute best talent in videography and video editing as well, to capture obviously the story of the event and give it a commercial edge, to make sure that it looks great on the client's feed, and when their investors or their important conversations come up with strategic partners, that the video has everything it needs to show that they're credible and that they are building a community, not just a product, but actually a community. Well, I'm really interested in the commercial balance of like creativity and practicality, and making sure that we can get what we need to get done on the client's budget and resource.
Yeah. Well, let me ask it. You know, a classic question. What is it about, in your opinion, what is it about LiveUP Media that really can give the client what they want and what they need from an event like this? What is our approach in particular?
I think resourcefulness is really important. I think another company might suggest too many things, more expensive approaches that aren't necessary. As you mentioned earlier, we only needed minimal equipment to pull this off because we've done other events before. And we also know that there's going to be time constraints, and we don't want to create a big footprint at the event. We want to make sure that we are just doing what we need to do. And I think we can deliver massive value without having to over budget or do too much. I think it's the commercial edge and the efficient. I think it's the commercial edge and the ability to deliver.
I think, yeah, resourcefulness is an important thing, because yeah, I've seen certain events where they're throwing too much at it, and it's almost distracting, and you can tell that people are a bit, you know, they're almost a bit distracted by everything that's going on. So I think it's, especially with quite an intimate event in a smaller space like this, it's very important to blend in a way and to be part of the event, and to not stick out like a sore thumb. And you know, because obviously we want to capture it, but we do, in a sense, want to be a fly on the wall at the same time. So I think that resourcefulness and knowing when to use it. Obviously, if you need bigger equipment because that's what you need to capture something, so be it. But having big, loud setup for the sake of it, I think is perhaps an error that some approaches would make. Found the right balance with that, I believe. Our working on it came about quite quickly as well, right? So it
was like last minute.
It didn't need to, you know, we didn't need to burden the client with, you know, 100 different things to think about. It was just
we make the decisions. That's
exactly
in our slogan. We experiment, we decide, we promote. Basically, the decision making is so important, because we offer go-to solutions for companies. Like, we can deploy the live filming team, and also we can have an event highlights team as well. So, you know, we can offer those as go-to solutions for the client. They don't need to ask and become a film director. We just have those solutions ready because we've done it before, and we have created packages that they can just access. Because there's been projects in the past when I first started where I'd go to a hire shop and create this complicated logistics filming plan, which is just completely I don't know, monstrous.
Yeah. Because most of the time the client has so much to think about. With an event like this, they've got to think about all the planning of the venue, all the people, the speakers, the audience. They'll have a million things on their mind. I think they appreciate you being able to take initiative and say, right, I know what they need from me. I don't need to throw a million things at them. I can just get on with it. I think they do appreciate that.
Founders appreciate efficiency and problem solving and being a bit savvy to make sure that you can achieve what they need.
What do you enjoy most about filming an event like this?
I enjoy the founder knowing that we're going to put something amazing together. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Do you look at the way I work? What do you think I care about?
I think you enjoy when we see that things are going well, when we see that we're getting good shots, when we see that for example we're both, as you said, we're coordinating in a way that we're both being very useful. So I think when you see that the plan is delivering, seeing.
I think what I enjoy is almost giving the client more than they should have, where a client will come to us and expect something good, but we deliver something that's really good. And I think that is the feeling when you've let the client sort of punch above their own weight and have something that they almost shouldn't have had, because we've got a lightweight team who's able to be deployed at these events and capture everything. As you said, we've got amazing cameras, technology, and artistic skills, and your creativity with storytelling and the ability to be able to pick up on these moments and bring it all together into something that allows a client to compete with some of the best in the industry.
And I think a nice anecdote on that I've seen in cases where our clients may see that, for example, for an event like this, we have a smaller setup, and so maybe they just see, fewer cameramen, not such a big setup, and they assume that it's the footage won't be as good, but then it turns out, oh no, it's top quality footage, and it's all done in a way that feels like it was a whole movie shoot in a sense. So that's nice always to it's a pleasant surprise to offer people.
There's something called in small but mighty, isn't it? Something Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Lucas. That was actually a really, really good chat, and I'm going to be chopping this up and sticking it all over the internet. So that's how the world works now. It needs to be present, and Google needs to know that we're around. So when Google
will know our names.
It will.